We are getting super close to knowing what our COLA adjustments are going to be for Social Security for 2025, our pay raises for next year. So in today's video, I want to share with you what we know, what we're waiting for, and when we're going to get that information. So let's jump in. First off, according to the Social Security Administration's website, ssa.gov, this is what the COLA adjustments have been over the last 6 years. So let's go through this. Before the pandemic, January 2019, the COLA adjustment was 2.8%. Then in January of 2020, that dropped to 1.6%. January of 2021, right, inflation was low. Back then, interest rates were super low. January of 2021, it was 1.3%, one of the lowest COLAs that we've ever gotten. But then the next year, it jumped up to 5.9%. The following year, January 2023, it jumped up to 8.7%. And then in January of 2024, our most recent COLA was 3.2%. So what's it tracking to now, and how does Social Security measure this? Well, first off, they use what's called CPI-W, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But here's how the calculation is done. Interestingly, it is not dependent on how inflation was over the past 12 months. Really, as retirees, what we care about is just 3 months out of the entire year, and that is July, August, and September. And for example, this is how the calculation was done last year for the benefit that we saw increase in January of 2024. You can see what the CPI-W is. I'm going to talk about what that is in a minute, but you can see what it was in 2023 versus 2022. Again, by law, Social Security Administration only looks at 3 months, July, August, and September. They total that up. They see what the difference is here. When they totaled it up in 2023, the CPI-W was at 301.236, and then it was the previous year 291.901, and you can see that's where we got the 3.2% increase. Now, I'm going to get back to it, but importantly, just because it was a 3.2% increase doesn't mean that everybody received that 3.2% increase, so stay with me. But here's what we know so far. According to NARFE, and they look at federal benefits, this is the information that we know. So obviously we know July, August, and September's of 2023's data, but we need July, August, and September of 2024. We already have the information for July of 2024 and August of 24. We'll talk about when we will know that final date, which is September 2024, when we'll know those inflation numbers, because with that, we can all make the calculation at home. So let's keep going. This is according to the U.S. Department of Labor. What is CPI-W, and how does that compare to what we hear in the news, CPI? And there's also another CPI-U. So how do all these compare? This is according to the U.S. Department of Labor. CPI is calculated on 2 population groups: the all urban consumers, which is the CPI-U, and then the urban wage earners and clerical workers, CPI-W. And again, we're looking at the CPI-W. So the CPI-U represents about 87% of the total U.S. population and is based on expenditures of all families living in urban areas. The CPI-W is actually a subset of that broader group, the CPI-U. Remember, we're looking at CPI-W. And it's based on expenditures of families living in urban areas who meet additional requirements. And that is more than 1/2 of the family's income has to be earned from clerical or hourly wage compensation. So that's the difference. So the government wants to use the CPI-W, so it's more representative of blue-collar workers, it's more representative of hourly and clerical workers. And the CPI-W represents just under 1/3 of the total U.S. populations. Okay, so what's the date that we're waiting for, and what information will we know? This is according to a website called Lagarda. It's an article titled Increased Checks for Retirees in 2025, the 3 dates that will change everything about Social Security in the coming months. Okay, so one of the big dates is on October 10th, the Social Security Administration will officially publish the 2025 COLA. And the reason they're waiting for that is they're waiting for, which is the time that the September 2024 Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers, which we talked about, is the CPI-W. And then they're going to look at the July, August, and September data and compare it to 2023. And they go on to say, technically, the COLA is not directly applicable to our checks. It has to do with our primary insurance amount. So if you retired at your full retirement age, which for most of us is going to be 67, then the change in COLA, you're going to see that. But for people that retired earlier or retired later than full retirement age, they may or may not see that exact amount. It could change a little bit. Okay, so, and then in early December of 2024, the Social Security beneficiaries will get a personalized COLA notice from the Social Security Administration. So that's the second thing. And then on January 8th of 2025, the first beneficiaries will start to receive their checks, which will include this COLA. And so the checks are mailed out according to what our birth date is. So recipients born the 1st through the 10th day of the month, those are folks that are going to get their checks on January 8th. For people born the 11th through the 20th of the month, they're going to get their benefits on January 15th. And for people born on the 21st through the 31st of the month, they're going to get their benefits on January 22nd. Now, according to the Social Security Administration, the application of COLA to a retirement benefit, again, it has to do with our primary insurance amount, the PIA. A COLA increases a Social Security's retirement benefit by approximately the COLA amount, but the exact computation is more complex. Each Social Security benefit is based on the PIA, the primary insurance amount, and the PIA in turn is directly related to the primary beneficiary earnings through the benefit formula. And then it's lowered to the nearest time. So I hope you found this helpful. We'll get together in October when the final data is known. And until then, if you enjoyed this video, I think you'll enjoy this video up here, which talks about thinking through when to retire, why waiting to 65 might be a big mistake.